Global talent coming to Bali International Hospital and the price of progress in Bali. Stay tuned for details. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is February 22nd, 2022, and Selamat Siang to you. And the weather today is beautiful. Little windy, 19.4 kilometers per hour. The temperature, 29.8 degrees Celsius, and humidity is a high 79% here in Kampung Bugis. And it has not rained in the last 4 days. Good news. I love that. And I hope the weather is good wherever you are. If you're a regular subscriber to this channel, you know that the videos have been a little, well, not regular anymore, and there is a reason for that. The most recent reason is on Sunday, we had the 10th birthday for my granddaughter Zoe, and well, we had everybody here from the family except for my youngest daughter who is working in Denpasar. And so there were son-in-laws and daughters and sons and grandsons and granddaughters and my daughter's mother-in-law and her sister-in-law and 40 screaming fourth graders, and we were all at McDonald's. And if you want to see how an Indonesian family celebrates a birthday in McDonald's away from the traditional ones that we had, and there's a bunch of old videos on this channel of ones that we used to have at home. Well, video will be done in a couple of days. I'm trying to cut it down. I've started at 90 minutes. I'm down to 36 now, and the goal is to get it down to 15, and that should be up in a few days. And after the birthday party, Zoe fell off the couch playing with her brother, hit her head on concrete, and well, we had to take her to the local hospital for a CT scan because I was worried about a concussion, and turned out she was all right. And thumbs up to Kuta Usada Hospital over here, just not far from my house. They were great. We had 3 doctors take care of her in the emergency room right away. They did a scan, they did a bunch of tests on her, and she is okay. And I can't say enough about how professional and how quick they were at taking care of Zoe, and how they reassured her when she went into the machine. She was a little scared. They let her take her unicorn with her, and it turned out okay. So that has been busy. And in the next month coming up, I've got a grandson who will be born, and I've got a son who's getting married sometime in the next few months, and back working on his house again. So there is a lot of stuff that I've been doing. I've noticed that the numbers of viewers have gone way down, and that's to be expected. This is a niche channel. Not many people are interested in news about Indonesia and Bali. They're more interested in coffee and tourist stuff, and I understand that. And this is not a tourist channel, and I do this not for money. This is just kind of a love of mine, a hobby, and I like talking about culture and politics, religion, and all that stuff that goes on here in the island. And so if you are interested in that kind of stuff and you're not a subscriber, I would suggest that you subscribe, because I'm going to be doing these on a more or less random basis. When there's interesting things to talk about, I'll be talking about them. I'll do a video. And when there's not, well, I'm not going to, because now that my eyes are finished and I can see and I have sunglasses so I can go out again, I'm going to be doing some more Singaraja snippets, and that is really a niche channel there, niche videos. And if you like those, there's going to be some coming up. I was out in the car yesterday with the family going over to look at the house in Pamaron, and a lot of places I want to walk around and do some videos, and so those will be coming up as well. So if you're interested in all that stuff, consider subscribing, and videos will be coming up more or less once or twice a week. One thing or the other, Singaraja snippets or some news. But that's where we're at today. Life is busy, and so I'm trying to keep up with everything. So let's get onto it. Seeking global talent for Bali Hospital. The medical special Economic Zone, SED, that is in Sanur now, and which will be home to the Bali International Hospital in cooperation with the world-renowned Mayo Clinic, will be staffed by highly qualified foreign doctors, Indonesian physicians, and diaspora doctors, offering health services in 6 healthcare areas, according to a recent news article. Diaspora doctors are Indonesian doctors who have been trained overseas and who at this point cannot legally practice here, but rules are going to be changed and the academic accreditation from overseas will be accepted in Indonesia, and those doctors will be allowed to practice at BIH, Bali International Hospital as it's being called right now. And the people in charge of the hospital are hoping that there will be Indonesian doctors who will want to come back and work here in the country now that their accreditations will be recognized here in Indonesia. The deputy governor said that the hospital is targeted for completion in Q4 of this year, 2023, with full operations scheduled for 2024. And according to the governor, the goal is to position the BIH's quality, security, and patient experience at the highest international standard so Indonesian patients will no longer need medical treatment abroad. There is apparently a new Minister of Health Regulation number 1 of 2023. I don't know if it's already out or not. It's not clear from here. I tried to find it on the internet and I couldn't. That will allow for the foreign doctors to be working in the hospital in Sanur in the Special Economic Zone. In explaining the plans to allow foreign doctors to practice at BIH, Dr. Mira said, "We are open to foreign doctors practicing at BIH because health is now a global field, and we can no longer create fences and barriers in the practice of medicine." Great. And he noted that many Indonesian doctors have opened medical practices in Singapore and other overseas locations. The recruiting has already begun, and there are now 100 applications in hand. All applicants will undergo review and testing addressing psychological suitability, English competency, and technical skills in their respective areas. Because of the large number of doctors required for BIH, the managers of the new International Standard Hospital are seeking a large number of applicants to allow careful selection for the best in their field. According to Dr. Mir, it's estimated that Indonesia loses 97.6 trillion rupiahs in foreign exchange every year, resulting from 2 million Indonesians traveling abroad for medical examinations and treatment. Bali International Hospital will have 250 inpatient beds, 6 medical specialty centers, including cardiology, oncology, neurology, and critical medical care. Other leading medical specialties at BIH are gastroenterology, orthopedics, and complete medical checkups. The deputy governor called on all parties to embrace and support the successful implementation of the medical SEZ in Sanur to encourage domestic and international patients to come to the island for treatment. He concluded the provincial government remains optimistic and fully supports this project. What's more, Bali's strategic position is to offer medical tourism and serve as a place for healing, contributing to a sense of well-being and peace for all patients seeking care. And I hope that this is successful. And the next leading story, well, there's actually a couple of them. The price of progress in Bali. Because Bali is changing, as you know, I've been talking about this in just about every video. And if you are on the island, either living here or if you're a tourist, you know, wow, things are just, Canggu, right, is just another world in itself. And Sanur is undergoing major changes with the hospital and that big thing called, I think, Icon, and the new harbor and the path for bicycles. And well, just Sanur is not going to be the same soon. It's just not the sleepy little village that it used to be. But what happens to the people that have been working there and have had shops and little stalls for years and years and years? They're coming up with some tougher times. Affected by the shortcut, Candikuning Market is dead. Oh, Candikuning Market is, of course, not in Sanur. Candikuning Market's up in the mountains there by what's called usually Bedugul. And there is that very popular market. Well, it's been popular for years and years, where you can get tourist stuff and fresh fruits and vegetables. And then just pop across the road and you've got the beautiful temple there, the iconic temple. You can take photos. Well, they're coming on hard times because of the shortcut. That's another big change that was done in order to make it easier for people to go from north to south. Candikuning Market in Batariti District, Tabanan, is now in suspended animation. Since the existence of the shortcut, each month's income has been in free fall. Usually per month, there's a turnover of 15 million rupias, but now the maximum is only 1.5 million per month. The Tabanan Regency Industry and Trade Office has repeatedly checked the location, but has not found a solution to this yet. On the other hand, because no one is shopping at the traditional market, most traders are choosing to close up and look for places to sell on the side of the road. And I think you've got that happening in Ubud, right? Because of the new market that's been built there and people just relocating and selling stuff on the side of the road. According to the head of the Candikuning Market, Ikutut Jaya Samara Putra, he said the obstacle to Candikuning Market is that revenue is falling due to the shortcuts because traffic from the direction of Singaraja going down to Denpasar or to the city of Tabanan has been closed and made it one way for the shortcut. He said 90% of our market is from the north because if you want to go to Denpasar, Tabanan, you might want to stop and buy souvenirs or vegetables. Now, their buyers are reluctant to turn back and prefer to shop on the side of the road. And this is tough for the sellers because they still have obligations to pay for things, pay rent for their stalls, and the overhead, buying fruits and vegetables and art objects, and nobody's buying them, but they got to pay for this stuff, and so they're in tough times. He said the team from the Department of Commerce has gone down there many times and checked until they are bored, but there's no solution. He said the sellers at the side of the road tend to be looking shabby, and so of course Bali doesn't like that. The authorities don't like that. They don't want to freak out the tourist and ruin their Instagram and TikTok videos. Under these conditions, he hopes that the solution for the Candikuning Market is to open its way west, and for the road to open its way west. Just leave it in two directions. If it causes a traffic jam, he said, it won't be from the market, but from the tourist attractions. Don't close things here permanently, he said. This is our request. He said the number of traders in Candikuning is currently 158 to 161 people, and 80% of them have already closed their shops, and it can be seen from the data collection that electronic fees are imposed, that not all traders are currently implementing their electronic feeds. So this is a real problem up there. And one more segment on the price of progress. Artshop and Warung evicted. Traders in Sanur, Bali changed profession to rent electric bikes. Now the electric bikes, wow, a lot of complaints from foreigners about the electric bikes on the path there in Sanur along the beach. And then some pushback from Indonesians who say, well, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Well, and then more pushback. Not long ago, you're begging people to come here, and now you're telling us to go away if we don't like it. Okay, so it's creating some problems. These bikes going down and I guess zipping down and scaring people that want to walk along the pathway there. Views of people using electric bicycles on Sanur Beach have been common since the end of 2022. The owners of the electric bicycle rental business have been grouped together. These are shop owners and art shops that were evicted by the revitalization progress with the development of the Special Economic Zone for Health. The owner of Sanur Electric Bicycle Renters Service, Iwayan Sirikut, said this, he started his business this way. He said he started on December 3rd, 2022. There's a group, and it's because of this eviction, right? He said there used to be shops here with water sports, and there's restaurants. Well, people don't have jobs anymore, he said. And so they had to find something else to do. He said he used to work on boats, but can't do that anymore. He was working on boats going to Lambongan, but that's now over because with boats, engines are damaged, and it's just a mess, he said, for him. And so he opened up electric bicycle business. And so he has his own, and he's entrusted in being responsible for the electric bicycle business with other business groups there as well. He said, I opened it for the first time personally. There were many wanting to join, rent bicycles, so he was pleased. The rental price in the morning from 6 to 9 a.m. is normally 35,000 rupiah. And he was surprised after opening the business. He said demand was extraordinary. On a maximum day, especially on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, the electric bicycle rental can be up to 5 trips. And that's a maximum. And for the electric bicycle group business, it's got 22 units with a total of 8 people working there. And they are also part of the fishermen's group that has been affected by the evictions as well. Most of the electric bicycle enthusiasts are local tourists, and in the afternoon, usually foreign tourists who use the electric bicycles to find hotels and restaurants, he said. Maximum passenger weight is 125 kgs, and the electric bicycle rental is open almost every day, but it's usually quiet on Mondays through Fridays. He said when it rains, we have to close down, we can't rent our bikes, and we have to pay extra special care because we're right by the sea and the salt air rusts things on the bikes very quickly, so they have to be cleaned immediately, and spare parts, he said, are very expensive. Wyan said that when he opened the business, he bought 2 units of electric bicycles at a price of $5.5 million per unit, and that includes the credit price. But when he bought the electric vehicles, he said the down payment was quite large. At that time, he took the 2 units with down payment of almost $4 million. He said, return on investment, not happening yet. If the capital is 3 or 4 units, the process is going to take a long time, he said. And I know there are problems over here too. I talked about this, I don't know, a year ago or something, over PP. It's called PP locally, a place for people to eat over on the beach. And well, people got moved over there as well. And when they built the new market over here in Suri, it's not very popular. A lot of people didn't want to work there because it was too expensive. The shops were too expensive. And we just got another place here that's opened up, and it's got about 6 shops over in Jalan Dewi Sartika, and people are complaining about that already and saying it's too expensive. Why do we want to rent these things when we don't know if we're going to make enough money to be able to pay the rents? They're so high. Easier just to use the old-fashioned warungs. They might not look as modern, but they're cheaper. And, well, I happen to like the old-fashioned ones anyway myself. Okay, so when you are in your beach club enjoying some cold drinks and by the pool, remember there are people that lost their jobs because of that, unfortunately. And so this is the price of progress. And what about traffic? Duh! Not only in Kuta, Gianyar, and Tabanan, many tourists violate traffic. Let's blame the tourists. Tourists have received stern warnings from the police against a number of motor vehicle rental owners. A similar warning was issued by the Tabanan Police Traffic Unit because there's many traffic violations from foreigners on the highway. The Tabanan Police also warned service providers for renting vehicles, as well as foreigners who rent vehicles, that they need to have a copy of their passport and a driver's license. Meanwhile, tenants with Indonesian citizen status are encouraged to provide a copy of their driver's license to the rental entrepreneur. The head of the Tabanan Traffic Police said this appeal aims to keep rental owners safe, so the driver also has responsibilities. He partly reminded this because so far in the field, many foreigners who rented vehicles have committed traffic violations. And they skip out on paying them, he said. The recommended agreement between the entrepreneur and the foreigner renting the bike should confirm that the renter is responsible for traffic violations or any damage caused by the renter. The police spokesperson also said it has something also to do with this, the implementation of electronic tickets. Let's be clear who's responsible if there's a violation. This has become a question if there are renters who violate it. And when asked about the implementation of the electronic tickets and when it's going to take effect in Tabanan, he said the process is still in the process of being installed. Indeed, at the beginning, it was planned that electronic fines would be implemented in January 2023, but now it's still being installed. What is clear, he said, is that it will be finished sometime this year. And more on tourism, Sandiaga eyes to provide affordable flight tickets to all provinces. Oh, that's good news. Pak Sandiaga said cheap air tickets are not evenly distributed and not available in all provinces, and only for places like Jakarta Bandung, Jakarta Sorong, Jakarta Bali, and so not in some of the more far-flung places. He said Later, with rising number of planes and availability of seats, we hope that ticket prices will gradually decrease and are accessible to all people throughout the archipelago. Because the target for domestic tourists this year is 1.4 billion trips. The Tourism Ministry projected a significant surge in demand during this year's Eid al-Fitr holidays, which fall in April of 2023. Ramadan starts on March 22nd. Just happens to be the same day as Nyepi this year. Thus, it certainly requires a greater number of aircraft in operation. We must ensure that there is no net outflow from our tourists for traveling abroad. He's saying, let's keep people at home traveling inside of Indonesia and not outside. We want that money. And the ministry is working with PHRI, the Indonesian Hotel and Restaurant Association, ASITA, the Indonesian Tour and Travel Agency Association, and GIPI, the Indonesian Tourism Industry Association, to boost hotel occupancy rates in all regions. Data from the onset of the pandemic 2020 to 2022 shows an increase in hotel occupancy rates of up to 50%, Pak Uno said. And this is the basis for optimism, but we must not be satisfied yet. We will keep pushing for a hospitality industry to recover faster. And let's finish up with this. Ukrainians, Russians living in Bali amid ongoing war. According to data provided by the government, over 7,000 Ukrainians have come to Bali. In January alone, there were officially 2,500 arrivals. And 58,000 Russians came here last year. And, well, if you live in Canggu, Sanur, from what I hear, or Ubud, you know that. You've seen a lot of Russians and signs up in Russian. In January 2023, there were more than 22,500 arrivals from Russia, which was the second largest foreign tourist group in the month. Last year, according to the head of the Bali Tourism Office, Jokorda Bagus Pamayun, the arrival of tourists from Russia and Ukraine reached its peak. The trend has increased since Bali started opening its doors to tourists starting on March 7th, 2022. He said, why Bali? Well, because Russian and Ukrainians have a war going on, and Bali is a peaceful place, and so they're coming here looking for peace. And let's hope they keep the peace. According to Statistics Indonesia, BPS, Russian tourists are ranked 9th in 2021 in terms of financial spending in Indonesia, with an average of $3,710 per trip. Data from the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board shows that Russian businesses accounted for more than 6.5% of foreign investment in Bali last year, up from 5% in 2021, with a concentration in real estate. A lot of stuff going on with real estate with Russians. I don't know why. Any ideas? And that is it for today. Got a busy afternoon ahead of me, a busy tomorrow, busy weekend, busy. I thought retirement was going to be just relaxing, sitting back, having a beer and looking at the ocean here. But wow, I don't know. There's just too much stuff to do. If you have a lot of kids and a lot of grandkids, you got a lot of stuff to do. And just a shout out for a couple of people that I enjoy watching. One of my favorite YouTubers, one of my favorite Indonesian YouTubers, Bobo. I've talked about him before. He wanders around, and I love Bobo. And here's his latest video. Check it out. If you haven't checked out Bobo's video, check it out. I think you'll find it interesting. And the monkeys, I know a number of people that follow this channel watch the monkeys, and if you have, you know that the monkeys moved. They left Bali for, well, a number of reasons. One is that they wanted to grow their channel and get more subscribers. I don't know that that's worked for them so far. They've decided to settle in Thailand for the moment, and I really enjoy their videos. If you are not a monkeys viewer, you might want to check out their videos and see what they're doing in Thailand, because it's pretty interesting. And so here's a link to their latest video. Okay, thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.